Someone will see the bus, right? They'll come looking for us.
So we're just gonna wait here? I don't want to be eaten by a cannonball.
It's cannibal, goddammit!
That's what I said!
Hello there, welcome to Brian Lomax's Movie Talk, and my first ever patron requested review. One of my patrons, Jaime Honeycutt, he paid for the particular package in which, one of the perks of that is you get to request a review, and he has requested a review for a film called Lost After Dark. I'm going to get into a couple of spoilers with this because there are certain reasons for that. There's certain things I need to be able to talk about in order to talk about some of the positives in the film. In order to do that, I do need to go into a couple of spoilers. So I'll try and talk about as much of the film as possible first before I get into that stuff. But then when I'm going to get into that, I will of course let you know, just so that you can switch off after that in case you want to see the film first. So Lost After Dark is an independent, low-budget horror film, and it's directed by Ian Kessner. It's also written by him, as well as another chap called Bo Ransdell. There's not really any big names in this. Robert Patrick is in it. He's about as big a name as you're going to find in this film. Unfortunately, he's not that great in it either. He plays this kind of hard-ass teacher that we've seen in a lot of kind of 80s high school movies, which kind of clues you into where this is going. This is a film that really does want to act as a homage to those kind of movies, Friday the 13th, Sleepaway Camp, all those films from the 70s and 80s, a lot of your grindhouse type stuff as well. It's shot like a grindhouse movie, so they've kind of put that grain on and the bass scratches, the negative dirt and all that lot afterwards, just to give it that kind of grimy feel. Suffice to say, they've gone as far as they can to make this feel out and out like a grindhouse film. With regards to paying dues to other films, they do reference them in such ways as, say, giving Robert Patrick's character the name of Mr. Cunningham, which, for any Friday the 13th fan, they will know what that is all about. But beyond that, it more plays as rather than a homage, just a blatant rip-off. There is nothing in this film at all, with the possibility of one thing, which is the reason I wanted to get into spoilers, that is original. And even that spoiler, you could argue other films have done it before, like Psycho and Scream and whatnot. But if you come to this for any kind of originality whatsoever, you're barking up the wrong tree. There's a bit of humour in it. I think they were trying for a lot more humour, if I'm being perfectly honest, but they don't really succeed all that well. But there is a couple. There's a few lines and whatnot that do make me kind of laugh out loud. So it's not all bad on that front. They do succeed from time to time. So the main character is this girl called Laurie, played by Sarah Fisher. Yes, Laurie, very subtle. Another nod there to Halloween. She plays this main character who kind of goes with this kind of in crowd. She doesn't look like she's part of them really. She looks like she's more trying to get in with them. And they steal a school bus and go away on a trip to a holiday home that she has. But they don't get there because the bus, in typical slasher horror movie fashion, breaks down. And they have to kind of go to find help, come across this old abandoned looking house, decide to stay there for the night, and find out that someone does indeed live there and he's not too happy about them being there and goes on a kill crazy rampage. That's your story. Very typically 80s, it must be said, and like I say, very typically unoriginal. Now, for the most part, given the fact that I've not seen any of these actors anywhere before, they actually put in some pretty decent work. The script doesn't always allow them to do that, but I don't think it's like their fault. Most of them feel like they have pretty decent chemistry with each other. They feel quite natural, and they have easygoing performances. I can believe in their characters, such as they are. You've got all the lineup of typical stereotypes there. The smart girl, the dumb blonde bimbo, the jock, the token black guy, total dweeb who's a bit fat and chubby and he's a real kind of geek. So yeah, the whole kind of Breakfast Club lineup basically. I like these people as much as you can with, you know, with this kind of film when you know that they're trying to tap into those kind of cliches. And I think that's testament to the actors. Not so much the writing, but definitely the actors. Lanie McAuley as Heather does get the biggest laugh for me in the film. She's the one who plays the blonde bimbo, and there's a moment when she says that she doesn't want to be eaten by a cannonball rather than cannibal. And yeah, just that came out of nowhere, and like, I wasn't expecting it at that point, and it got me. You know, I think took me by surprise and just made me laugh. Given, as I say, that Robert Patrick is the biggest name in this, I think he actually gives the weakest performance. I buy his character less so than any of the others. It really does feel like he's turned up for a paycheck, which, let's face it, he probably has. I think Ian Kestner is a stronger director than he is a writer. I think he actually does a pretty good job, if I'm being perfectly honest. This is clearly a low budget film. They've not got a lot of resources to work with here, although they clearly have quite a bit more than I've seen in other films. You know, I saw one recently, Into the Woods or something like that. The names just escaped me, I do apologise, but like, they don't, you know, they clearly have a bigger budget than that film did. So with that, I do expect more. And for the most part, from a directorial style, from the look of the film, the production design, I think they do deliver. You know, the set where most of this takes place, this house, does look genuinely creepy. It's really well done. It looks better than the house, say, in Halloween Resurrection, which obviously is a turd of a film, but it has a bit of that vibe at times. You know, it did make me think of that film being in that house. I don't ever want to be reminded of that film, if I'm being perfectly honest, but I would say this is better, you know. So if you want a measurement to go off, not that that's much of one, I would definitely rather watch this again than Halloween Resurrection. I'm also not that big on the original Friday the 13th, which I have said before. I think there are a few good movies in that franchise, but I would probably rather watch this film than a lot of the movies in that franchise. That being said, I still can't quite call it a good film. I think it tries far too hard to be all those other things, but doesn't quite have the oomph, shall we say, and the skill in the script department as something like, say, The Babysitter, you know, which is probably the nearest comparison I can think of right now, which really took all those tropes, took all those cliches and familiar stories, turned them on the head, and yeah, gave us something with an 80s kind of vibe, but just completely turned things around. That film just felt completely fresh to me. This doesn't. It feels stale because it's just treading over old ground. I will say, however, that for gorehounds, you've definitely come to the right place. The kills in this are just some of the craziest I've seen with regards to how bloody they are, how gruesome they are. At one point there's this kill in which, well, let's just say it involves someone's eyeball, and we get to that moment where you think they're going to cut away and they don't, and I'm like, ugh. And they do that a few times, you know, moments where in other films I've seen them cut away. I don't know, maybe to get themselves a lower rating, a PG-13 or something. Here, they definitely don't. So if you're someone who's looking for that in your slasher horror films, definitely check this out. As I say though, I can't exactly call this a good film. Entertaining maybe, yes, but once we hit like the 45-minute mark, it takes us a long time to get there, you know, when all the carnage starts flying. A lot of the character development I'm not really buying into, because I know full well all these people are cannon fodder. So yeah, I just kind of want to get there a bit faster. When they do, as I say, that's when it kicks off, becomes highly entertaining, and maybe bumps it up from being a poor film, a poor knockoff, to something that is actually genuinely entertaining. I can still only give it a 2.5 out of 5. Like I say, it's close to a 3, but for me, if I give something 3 stars, I'm saying it's good. And I honestly, if I'm being honest, I can't call this a good film. Would I recommend it? For horror fans, I definitely would. For the casual moviegoer, I wouldn't. You know, I think there's certain horror films that casual moviegoers can go and see. Kind of ticks a lot of boxes. We can all appreciate something for them. I think this kind of film, you definitely have to be a pure horror fan, and particularly a fan of slasher films of the 80s. I think if you are, this is definitely worth checking out. Now, as I said, I did want to get into some spoilers. I'm not going to be long on this, just a couple which, like I say, I wanted to talk about because they are positives. I think they're pretty decent kind of things to play with. Came rather unexpectedly, took me by surprise, and that's something that the film should definitely be commended for. And one of those, like I say, if you don't want to hear the spoilers, turn off now, but one of those is the main character, Laurie, played by Sarah Fisher. I honestly thought she's the final girl. You know, she's set up as the final girl. She's definitely the one who we're going to go along this journey with. She'll survive at the end, and she doesn't. She's actually the first to cop it in quite a brutal, bloody way. And it's full on. It's pretty full on. And I think from that point on, the film sets out its stall and says, yeah, we're taking no prisoners. Boom. And that's kind of when I sat up and thought, oh, okay, if they brought on that kind of carnage a bit sooner, I don't know, maybe it would get that 3. But yeah, so that was a good point. There's also a bit here where they go the grindhouse route and they have a missing reel. So they're just getting to, I think it was Robert Rodriguez who did it with Planet Terror. They do that here, you know, so they've got this bit where it looks like this woman is just about to get killed, and then boom, the reel cuts off, and then we come back into it and we don't know where we are. People are back in the house, things going on, and we're like, oh, okay, what's going on? Now I thought they would use that to their advantage. I thought there'd be a twist, like say the woman didn't actually escape, but she was in on it with the killer. She was part of this family, and that it was her job to go out into the community, find people to bring back, and that she was actually behind all this. But it didn't turn out to be that way, and I suppose if it did, the fact that I thought that would have made it blatantly obvious. So you could argue they're playing with my expectations by doing that. There you go, that's my review. Now do take everything that I say about this film with a pinch of salt. Jaime Honeycutt kind of recommended this to me. He wanted me to review it, so he clearly likes it. I think he's definitely more into the slasher horror type movie than I am. I like them. There's certain ones that I think are really very good, but they have to be really good in order for me to go along with them. I'm not one of these who can just latch on to sequels in franchises just because I'm a fan of them, you know. I won't sit there and watch every Friday the 13th movie just because I think 4 and 6 are good. So yeah, but if you're the kind of fan of these movies who literally will sit and watch everyone in the franchise, check this out. I think you'll probably get a lot from it, certainly more than I did. So yeah, definitely a recommendation from me, but not a film that I can, if I'm putting my hand on my heart, say is good. But yeah, Jaime, I hope that didn't disappoint you too much, mate. I hope you don't feel like I've just peed all over a film that you really like. And the fact that I didn't like it as much as you doesn't take away from you what you feel about it. So yeah, thank you for recommending me that one. Thank you for asking me to review it, and thank you for being a patron. Yeah, you have no idea how much that is appreciated. To anyone else out there, if you think you would like to suggest a movie to me for me to review, then head on over to my Patreon page and you can do just that. Thank you to Jaime once again. Thank you to watching, to you I should say, for watching, and until next time, cracking.